would you show me love? Ooh, would you tell me who's been hurting you all of my life, passing me by? Is it easy for you? I take the sky to what you like. Ooh, baby, soon enough. If you feel alone, please dry those eyes. Ooh, darling, soon enough. And what could I do if you need me, girl? Ooh, just show me who's misleading you all of my life, wondering what would I do if you leave me. Ooh, for you I take the sky to what you like. Ooh, baby, soon enough. If you feel alone, please dry those eyes. Ooh, darling, soon enough. Ooh, tell me, would you do it again? Oh, baby, would you do it again? Darling, please believe me. Ooh, for you I take the sky to what you like. Ooh, baby, soon enough. If you feel alone, please dry those eyes. Ooh, darling, soon enough. Oh, tell me, soon enough. If you feel alone, don't please dry those eyes. Baby, soon. Girl, I'm coming home.
Good morning. How we doing? All right, so it's Sunday, May 31st. Holy shit. This is the last Sunday of the month. Man, I was supposed to schedule a meeting today and I forgot. Oh well. Maybe I still have time. I've been lagging it. I've been so busy just getting ready for the kiddo to take off for the summer. I'm gonna miss my kid. Who's gonna annoy me? Who's gonna say 6'7"? You know? Who am I gonna yell at? You know, when they fight me about fucking putting on socks. Children. You know? Children. So, all right. What are we doing today? What are we doing today? What I want to do is I want to watch this. So let's see, like I always try to watch things and then I always get distracted and it takes too long, but we're going to try to watch this whole thing. Why? Because I think this is the conversation that people should be having. And now that I have a little more free time, especially during the summer, I would like to see if I could get, or I could try to get more people to have this conversation with me. Really, I don't know. Like, YouTube is dead. I mean, at least for me. I stopped streaming, so I've fallen off. Now no one even, trolls me. But I guess I could start doing YouTube shorts and see if that works. That seems to work, but I don't know. Sometimes when you want to, sometimes when you put too much effort into something, it's like the payoff is not worth the reward until far off in the future. Will I ever be rewarded for my hours of YouTube content? Probably not. But if I'm still willing to do it, even knowing that, then I don't know. Then for whatever reason, it's still worth it to me. So, okay. Let's see.
Democrats and the Republicans are both driving in a car towards a cliff.
Yeah.
The Republicans are going 100 miles an hour and the Democrats are going 98 miles an hour.
Sure.
They're both going over the cliff.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a good analogy. We have an organization like Our Revolution endorsing a literal billionaire in the governor's race in California.
Tom Steyer, who made his money in private prisons. Ladies and gentlemen, very exciting to bring on Brianna Joy Gray, political commentator, lawyer, author, who served as the national press secretary for Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign. What an eye-opening campaign that was. She's
couldn't agree more.
Couldn't agree more. Harvard University, Harvard Law School graduate. She's currently the host of the Bad Faith podcast and a contributing editor for Current Affairs, having previously worked as a senior political editor at The Intercept and co-hosting Rising on the Hill until she was very unceremoniously let go for telling the truth. Welcome to the show, Brianna Joy Gray.
Yeah, I mean, that's bullshit. Exactly. I want to say she was fired for speaking. Let me look that up. Why was Brianna Joy Gray let go of Rising? On June 4th, Brianna Joy Gray interviewed Yarden Goonan, whose sister Rami was being held hostage by Hamas near the end of the interview. Goonan urged Gray to believe women regarding allegations of sexual violence. Gray appeared to roll her eyes, then abruptly ended the interview. The clip went viral, generating because she rolled her eyes. Two completing this. Gray argued that she was fired because of criticism of migrants. She said Rising and its parent company had suppressing viewpoints critical to Israel and pointed out early firing commentator Katie Halpert as evidence. Felix explained many critics of the issue was her views, but rather her on-air conduct towards hostage family. They viewed the IRA. Fire. Libya.
I'm saying right now that we have an Israeli deal on the table and we're waiting for Hamas to say yes.
Unfortunately, that
We have
doesn't
a
seem
lot
to
of
be the case. I wish that it were, but unfortunately, that does not seem to be the case. Would you like to say anything else
This is
that
exactly
we should know
the
about
case that
your?
even Biden said himself. This is what the Egyptian government said. This is what the Qatari said just today. And this is what my government said. Hamas also said that they're waiting, that they need to read the agreement and to decide whatever they want. I don't know, but what I'm getting is from the media, and I'm sure that you're getting it from the media itself yourself because you're not in the negotiation team. So I'm here to talk about my sister. Please help me spread her story. Help me make people understand what she's going through as a woman in 2024. We are not 200 years ago. This is not okay that we have terror organizations that's controlling the free world and people in the West letting it happen and stay on the streets, killing the hostages now, or Israelis must die. What did I do wrong? What did my sister did wrong? Nothing. Nothing. We did nothing wrong.
Well,
This
we
was
are.
happening inside our own country.
Yeah.
And
She lets her talk for a long time though. She doesn't interrupt her. I mean, she's making faces maybe. I don't know. Is that a face? She's kind of a she's kind of making a face.
if the world won't help us, we will see 9/11 the second time in the US as well. But we can already see in the United States, in Michigan, rallies that's calling death to America, not condemning terror organizations in Israel or any other place. In fact, is reflecting to your country as well.
I'm just going to push
So
back
it's
against
not-
the implication that in Michigan, which has the largest Muslim and Arab population in America, that there is any threat of terrorism from our own people. And I would like to clarify also that one of the rationale that was presented for 9/11 was discussed with America's support of Israel's continued occupation of Palestine. So that's neither here nor there. I really do hope that Netanyahu agrees and Israel agrees to the ceasefire deal that could bring all the hostages, including your sister, home. And I'm sure many people watching are praying for her safety.
Thank you, me too. And I really hope that you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right, thanks for joining.
That
Stick around, more Rising coming up next.
That you specifically will believe women. That you specifically will believe women. And she kind of like, she does kind of go, all right, you know. But to me, she's more like, because it's propaganda, right? I mean, that's what it seems like to me, right?
Thank you, me too. And I really hope that you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right, thanks for joining.
That
Stick around, more Rising coming up next.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. I don't know if that deserves her being fired, though. I'm gonna say that was bullshit.
Great. Hi, Brianna.
Hi, Jimmy. Thanks for having me.
So it's great to see you. What is the thing you learned the most about the Bernie Sanders campaign in 2020?
Oof. It's funny. People will characterize me sometimes as being some combination of a doomer, accelerationist, or
Where have we heard that? Robbie's a doomer. Robbie the doomer.
acting in bad faith or somehow overly cynical. But I feel like I earned my I don't even know if I would call it cynicism, but my lack of confidence in the Democratic Party the hard way.
Yes.
By giving a full-throated, faithful effort to do the thing of working inside the system, by giving up a legal career, a job in journalism that I really loved to go. I was recruited.
How many people who have checked out feel the same way? That the reason why you're checked out is because you really did, give a real, effort. And what do you get? The system, shuts you down.
By the Bernie campaign to go and work for it. And I saw up close the extent to which the Democratic Party absolutely refuses to let anybody, even vaguely left of center, a social Democrat like Bernie Sanders, get anywhere close to power. And I think between that experience and then watching what Biden did with his first 2 years in office when he had the trifecta, or more accurately, what he didn't do when he had the trifecta, and how it became an entire administration of making excuses for why Democrats just couldn't do any of the enormously popular things that people wanted them to do, followed by Donald Trump, of course, managing to do with no majoritarian support and without congressional support, passing everything that he's ever dreamed of. I think was really the final nail in the coffin of having absolutely no confidence that entryism was going to change the country in the ways that it needed to be changed.
What do you mean by entryism?
People who believe that you can sort of elect enough progressives within the Democratic Party and work within the Democratic Party as socialists.
You never hear that anymore, do you? I mean, what was the last time you heard that? Oh, well, the reason why we don't have health care is because we haven't elected enough progressives. We elected enough progressives. And guess what? They betrayed us. They were called the Justice Democrats. AOC, Cory Bush, all those motherfuckers, Jamal Bowman, all of those Justice Democrats were supposed to. This is forced to vote. This is the same conversation. This is the same, that nobody wants to fucking admit that they were wrong about forced to vote. Nobody.
Democratic socialists or economic populists or whatever you are that is fundamentally in opposition to the corporate pro-war duopoly, to change that duopoly for the good, to break the corporate control over these parties. I would love to be proven wrong any day now, but I am not confident that that is a possible route to change.
Patricia Heaton looks great at 67, and she's finally sharing how. Regular milk or oat milk?
Oh, regular milk, but only casein A2.
Cashews or almonds?
Almond, peeled.
So, which brings us to AOC. Now, I was the first show to bring AOC on.
I remember.
After Bernie Sanders was cheated in the 2016 election, and that's not hyperbole. Everybody admitted it, including Elizabeth Warren and now I'm blanking on her name, who wrote a book. She was the DNC chairwoman.
Donna Brazile. Does anybody talk about Donna Brazile anymore? Does anybody, remember how they screwed Bernie, the anti-fascists, rigged how many primaries? I mean, did we even have a primary last time? No. Is anybody talking about that? But no, right? It's so funny how quickly people forget.
Donna Brazile put it in her own book that they cheated in the 2016 election. They went on to cheat in the 2020 election. Bernie Sanders, the same guy. And then in 2024, they didn't even bother to have a primary. So for the last three presidential election cycles, the Democrats have been the most undemocratic political party in the world. And not only that, but they kick off third parties off any ballot where they might be a threat. So this idea that Trump is a fascist, or that fascism is outside the Democratic Party, or that the Democratic Party is the antidote to fascism or corporatism or oligarchy, is the biggest joke. So when I would see Bernie Sanders and AOC doing their no oligarch tour, it was all a psyop, because they didn't say a goddamn word about it when Joe Biden was president, and they didn't say a word about it any other time.
Yeah, remember the Stop the Oligarchs tour? Did that do anything? What was the demand? What was the demand? How are we going to stop oligarchs if you don't?
Yeah, that was frustrating to watch for a couple of reasons. One, because frankly, what AOC and Bernie was doing was very popular, right? They were drawing these huge crowds. They were helping the Democratic Party.
Helping.
I was frustrated at them because, like, to your point, Jimmy, they were only calling out one side of the duel. I mean, maybe that's a little unfair. They were, and certainly Bernie Sanders has acknowledged the ways that the Democratic Party is captured and that we live in an oligarchy and all of those things. But the point, the purpose of those rallies was to gin up support for the Democratic Party and funnel people back into the Democratic Party. So there was criticism from the left on that score. But at the same time, the Democratic Party wasn't even thankful to them for what they were doing. And they were getting all this weird backlash for the very party that they were shoring up at the same time. And from my perspective, it's like, how much more evidence do you need that you're working against your own interests and that you're swimming upstream unnecessarily? If you're able to turn out all of these people who are so disgusted with corporate capture, then you, AOC and Bernie, should be directing those people to starting a new party. I mean, look at the success.
This is where have we heard this before? You know, this is the conversation that people should be having. And it gets suppressed, you know, like, I don't remember the last time one of her videos showed up on my feed. Like, you have to really look for, people having this conversation. No one's having this conversation. I mean, like it's so frustrating, because it's like the only thing the Democrats care about right now is who is Hassan Piker. Like, that's what people are thinking about right now. Like, there's no plan. Like, there's no, okay, well, what, you know, Trump is bad, but what are we going to do about it? There's no demands. Like, during the No Kings protest, what was the demand? There was nothing. Like, I'm so sick of people protesting for nothing, you know? It's so annoying. But it's, you know, what I love about Brianna is that she articulates it so well, you know, like, that's what we need. We need someone who can articulate it well, but like someone who's more, she's not willing to, you know, call people out or put them on the spot in a like a mean way. She's always like trying to like make people think for themselves. It's like, no, Brianna, people don't, you know, come to conclusion. I mean, I guess they do eventually, but like most of the time you gotta, well, okay, without a specific demand. Okay. Remember when I had my I had 3 specific demands. Hey, did I not free Assange? Huh? Did we not free Assange? Don't start, right? Don't fucking start. Who freed Julian Assange? Robbie? Huh? Shit only took what, 4 days? 4 days of protesting? He was out. Shut up. Anyways.
Greens have just had in the UK. That's the kind of energy that could be harvested by someone as popular as AOC and Bernie if they had any interest in doing so.
Yes, but they have no interest. There is no interest in doing so. Bernie, what happened to the $15 minimum wage, Bernie? Remember that? Nothing. And you know what bothers me too? Like, remember Scam Cedar? Scam Cedar admitted that someone told him to back off, fucking force the vote. So not only did he back off, but he also tried to make Jimmy look stupid. Remember? Does anybody, point that out to Scam Cedar or Emma Vigeland? I mean, where the fuck are those losers been? Nowhere. What are they doing? Nothing. Why aren't they at the protest?
Sanders better than I. Bernie would never even talk to me personally or come on my show because
Bernie, if they had any interest in doing so.
Now, Bernie Sanders better than I. Bernie would never even talk to me personally or come on my show because
same.
Nobody wants to be challenged from the left. And they don't, instead of engaging with you on the left, that what they always do, if you're to the left of a Democrat or anybody, they will first dismiss you and then discredit you and then smear you. And then maybe they'll take on your argument, but that never happens. So that's all they do. And Bernie Sanders just ignored me. And he wouldn't come on my show, but he would have his wife send me mean DMs on Twitter, because he's a coward. And so, why do you think that Bernie Sanders won't do exactly what you?
Oh no! I wonder what those DMs say. What do you think those DMs say, huh? Hey, JFK, what do you think? Stop being mean to Bernie. What do you leave my husband alone? Leave my cuck husband alone, huh? What do you think they say? What do you think those DMs say, huh, JFK? You got nothing. You got nothing.
You just said, why won't he actually create a party? Should
I buy some tamales? Wait. I think I have it in cash. Hold on. Robbie's got no cash. You got any cash, JFK? Who cares? Who cares what those DMs? You don't care what those DMs say? You don't think those are funny? I don't know. I think they'd be funny. He should release the DMs.
One of the most heartbreaking things for me was in 2016 to walk into Philadelphia at the Democratic National Convention and see half that stadium screaming to overthrow the corporate oligarchs that were running the Democratic Party and supporting Bernie Sanders. He had
Yep. Remember that? And then guess what? Where are those people now? Like that's the part like that I think that a lot of people don't understand. That was like the camel that broke the straw, the camel's back or whatever. The straw that broke the camel's back, where people, were just broken, I guess. Like Bernie broke so many people's hearts, Who, me or me or Jimmy Dore or Bernie? Because in my opinion, people who troll other people on the internet all day, every day, without at least trying to be like not trying to be mean, but actually trying to be funny. That to me is the definition of a jagoff.
at least half the party inside that hall. And then the next time they had a convention was in 2024, even though they didn't have a primary. And not one person said anything. It was like I walked into a Stepford Wives convention and they didn't even bother. They didn't even mind that they didn't have a primary. Everybody was in lockstep. I'm like, half the party that Bernie had the last time they had a convention, where are those people? Where are those people, Brianna?
Yeah, I don't know. And there's obviously the same speculation that everyone's been, talking about since 2016 or since 2020 as to what's motivating Bernie Sanders. And, there's, this maybe apocryphal conversation that happened where he said he didn't want to end up like Ralph Nader. I think Chris Hedges has talked about this. I can't speak to that. I don't have any insider knowledge on that. I do know, and I want to credit how much enormous.
So the question is what happened to those people, and nobody knows. I mean, I would like to know. What do you think, JFK? Where did those people go? Huh? Are they just going live? You know as well as I do, JFK, that this is going to come down to the truckers, right? That's why you were paying attention just like I was, right? So what do you think needs to happen, huh? Like, what I think needs to happen is all the people on the West Side who are ridiculously overpaid and are working for NGOs and academia, but it's all basically taxpayer money, right? And they're just lining their own pockets. When those people can't buy groceries, when those people can't, afford their car payment or their credit card bills, maybe then, like the CIA knows exactly the percentage of when people are like, fuck the system, let's revolt. And so am I wrong to think that is sooner or closer than what people think? Am I wrong? Because I like to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. That's my mantra or motto. And so I feel prepared, but I don't feel like everyone else is prepared. So how do I feel? How do I get to that? How do I feel like, oh, most people are prepared? Independence will determine the next president. They've been doing that. What are you talking about? They're the reason why Trump won all the swing states, right? I mean, that's already happened. The largest voting bloc is independence. Goof morning to you, Nancy. How you doing, Nancy? Am I just dooming? Am I just dooming again? Okay, well, I got to do something different for the summer, so.
How much the enormous volume of pressure that is on people to get in line. I can only imagine that pressure might even extend beyond the legal realm into all kinds of threats. And if that's the case, then to me, that is emblematic of what we're up against and why we can't capitulate. And I know that sounds maybe like I'm playing fast and loose with other people.
The threat is their livelihood. Let's be clear. That's the threat. That's the only reason why these people would continue to go along with it. So we've created a system where people's livelihoods are dependent upon their complicity with rigging elections or whatever, or the duopoly or whatever you want to call it. Okay, that's so what what redundancy besides taking money out of politics? Like, how do we actually get to there? That's really my question, because I don't see a way. And so I don't hang with well, maybe it's the other way around, huh? JFK, have you ever thought about that? Maybe Nancy's too cool to hang out with JFKs, huh? This guy, oh, this guy's a cool guy. He's too cool to hang out with us. Oh, you think you're better than me because your face is not made out of leather? Huh? Like mine and Nancy's? You're stupid.
People's lives and safeties and livelihoods and things. But there are a lot of people who have a lot less than Bernie Sanders or some of these other affluent, established public figures who have been willing to lose careers and have been willing to be marginalized because we believed in the kinds of things that Bernie was advocating for in 2016 and 2020.
That's why she's, that's why she's that's why she feels so strongly about this. Am I wrong about that? She feels like she gave up her career to do the just thing, which is, fight the good fight. And then Bernie betrayed her and she, left her career for a liar. I mean, that's why. I mean, who wouldn't feel that way? Come on.
Feels like 68,000 people die every year from a lack of health insurance. We're in abstractions, but we're putting a number on, a silent mass murder, a silent holocaust of individuals whose lives are being lost on a regular basis, but are just grandfathered into just that's how the way works. And that's what America is. And it is frustrating to me as someone who was anonymous in 2016. I was just an attorney still. But who felt so motivated by that movement to make a career change and to want to sort of devote my professional life to this, to see the person who motivated so many people seem sort of comfortable with what has happened to his movement so far, so much so that we have an organization like Our Revolution endorsing a literal billionaire in the governor's race in California.
Tom Steyer, who made his money in private prisons.
Yep.
And so now the Bernie, Our Revolution people are supporting a billion. And the irony of that is not lost on me, but it's certainly lost on them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you show up to stop the oligarchy protests, but yet you support a fucking billionaire. Like, and why do you support a billionaire? Because a Republican is horrible. Like that vote blue no matter who shit, man. Like it's such crap, man. It's such fucking crap. We're only 9 minutes in this video. We're never gonna get through this. God damn it.
It's very confusing. And look, it's a jungle primary. It's first two past the post. So even if you had a weird sort of we can't let the Republicans win attitude in California, an organization like that has the possibility to try to at least platform and boost someone like Butch Ware, who's running on the Green Party, and to say something like, okay, do top two, do Steyer and Ware, Wright and Ware. Or you could have given more voice and amplify the Ware campaign prior to this point, so that now you don't have the built-in excuse of, oh, well, he's not polling as well. Well, of course not. He's been shut out of the debates. He's been kicked off the ballot by the Democratic Party. All of these things have happened, and the folks with the biggest platforms never use them to actually support the party that wouldn't come after you and wouldn't try to kick you off the ballot and wouldn't try to run Zionist candidates against you to get you out of office. And for some reason, there's so much antagonism from even a lot of the progressives on the left toward the Green Party that doesn't exist for the Democratic Party, no matter how much harm it does to the progressives among its ranks.
Can't fit in those jeans? Be careful.
See how well she articulates that? I mean, who else could articulate that better than her? No one. Even Jimmy can't articulate that. Like even Jimmy... There's nobody on the left that can really articulate these points as well as she. Like, I just wish that she was stronger when it came out to fight. I don't know. Like,
say to people
left toward the Green Party that doesn't exist for the Democratic Party, no matter how much harm it does to the progressives among its ranks.
What do you say to people?
What she's saying, Nancy, is that the Democrats will sabotage Green Party or progressive candidates in primaries. I mean, they do it all the time. And so the Democrats are not in favor of real, I guess, democracy. They play dirty. They rig primaries, they rig elections, and they sandbag progressives like the Green Party. Yeah. Derp derp. Derp derp. Derp derp, Nancy.
Who again, the big mistake that people like our revolution, people like people who call themselves progressives, people who call themselves Democrats, what they fall into the trap of pretending their enemy is their neighbor, whether it be white supremacists or Nazis or whatever it is, and or Trumpers or whatever. They pretend that they're the enemy instead of the people, the working class that they're supposed to unite with against the oligarchs. It's amazing and so they'll do things like this. You know, people didn't, so I see it all over Hollywood. This is where I live. And these people think they're good people because they vote Democrat and they're liberals, but they're not liberals. They're actually authoritarian fascists. And what they'll say, they'll disparage half the country by saying, oh, those idiots who voted for Trump. How did you not see he was the biggest con man coming? Oh, you're so stupid. You ruined our country. And what I say back to them, and I'm interested to see what you say, what I say back to them is, well, you're pretending like voting for Kamala Harris, who was in the middle of doing a genocide, who forced experimental medical treatments on people or they couldn't go to work, who crushed a railroad worker strike and didn't bother to have, who rigged 3 elections in a row, talk about fascists, in a row, somehow voting for a genocider. You are the moral superior of nobody. And at least Donald Trump was giving them the lip service and saying that he would do the things that they wanted. He didn't. Of course, he didn't do it. But Kamala Harris wouldn't even lie to them. They wouldn't even do that. So it's not like they had a choice because the Democratic Party made sure they didn't have a choice, to the point where they cheated Bernie twice, and the third time they didn't even bother to have one. So it drives me crazy to hear people say that, and I'd like to remind them they're the moral superior of no one. You support a genocide or you're a garbage person. What do you say?
He's got a point there. I mean, what do you say to that? You're over here calling other people names, but if you support Kamala, then you support genocide. So you don't really have a moral high ground, do you? I mean, that's really where we are, people. Like we're fighting for the moral high ground, and no, there is no moral high ground. We're all in the shit. We're all knee deep in shit. What moral high ground are you guys fucking talking about? What? Like, we've been given this fucking opportunity. We've grown up in this so-called great country. And what have we done with those opportunities? What have we done with this great country? We've fucking done nothing. Have we improved it? No. Whose fault is that? It's all of our fault. It's not blaming your neighbor and calling them fucking names. So what are we going to do about it? I mean, that's the question. Like, there's no one talking about solutions. Like, I wish somebody would just start asking that question. Like, okay, fine. How do we get from here to Medicare for all? Like, how is it even possible? How could we even get there? Like, right now, it's not possible. You think Trump was going to give us Medicare for all? I mean, I guess it would be possible if there were enough demand, right? So but I mean, how do we create that demand? So how do you make stuff like that cool, where people are like, man, give us more of that? You know, the same way they want to see Taylor Swift or Kanye or fucking whoever, like, screaming by the thousands for clamoring for something, for change. It's just not there anymore. The appetite's not there.
Yeah, well, I'd say first and foremost, white supremacy is a problem.
That's why I feel that there's going to be another false flag thing, because people's hope are so down and they need something to like rally behind, and they're just going to rally behind some bullshit. So like the Iranians are going to sink our ship, or attack something here, and then we're going to be so outraged and we're going to unite and we're going to fight Iran. And once Iran is gone, then guess what? We still have all the same problems. We didn't fix anything. The world is still a shit place, you know?
Part of why we're so frustrated with what's going on in Gaza and Israel's genocide is that they have an expectation and have historically had an expectation that we should look the other way. We should fund what they do to Palestinians on the basis that Israeli lives are worth more because they are not Arab, because they are white, because they are Jewish, whatever the rationale, because God told them X, Y, and Z, and whatever the rationale. That kind of ethno supremacy is exactly what has enabled and has allowed the world to make sense of the occupation in Palestine for so many years. I think what has happened, what's the problem is there has been a fundamental misdiagnosis of what motivated the MAGA movement and what has caused the Democratic Party to not be successful, even though it ostensibly supports so many populist policies, right? And I say ostensibly, heavy on the ostensibly, because when they're in power, they have all kinds of strategies to avoid actually being accountable to these things that they say that they actually support. The problem is that while, of course, we live in a country that's like 60 years out of Jim Crow, where the voting rights was just repealed, where, to deny the existence of de jure racism in the United States of America that was founded with slavery being its major economic engine for the first half of its lifetime would be absurd. The question is why the MAGA movement in particular took wing in 2016. And the real thing that was motivating it, because racism has always existed and politicians have weaponized race in all kinds of ways to get people on their side. MAGA took off the same reason that Bernie took off, because there was an appetite for economic populism in the wake of the financial.
There's still an appetite for economic populism, but I mean, there's nobody on the left that can articulate it. Bernie was the only one who could articulate it, and he is a complete liar and fraud. Every time Bernie had the opportunity to use his influence or power to leverage anything, I mean, he didn't do it. So all right, I'm gonna watch this for a couple more minutes, and then I think I'm getting a fucking ear infection. Oh shit.
Financial crisis and the bailout that disproportionately went to bail out the banks and not homeowners, people seeing decreased standards of living, millennials coming to adulthood, being the first generation that did worse off economically than their parents, inflationary and crises in the areas of education, fuel costs, housing, food, et cetera, that were exacerbated by the pandemic and the supply chain issues that came after that. And people were looking for and continue to look for someone who is going to tell the truth about the ways that the system is fundamentally broken and has been poorly stewarded by both parties. When Trump came along, he was not embraced by the Republican Party. People are kind of memory hole that, right? He won the primary in 2016 with a minority of Republican votes. And if they had ranked choice voting, he never would have won. He won with like 30% of the vote. But what he did was capitalize on a thirst for someone who was an outsider who was willing to criticize the establishment. Now, I would argue that he very quickly became subsumed by the establishment because, just like I'm saying about AOC and Bernie, once you're in there, the party takes over you. You don't take over the party. And that's how we get a Donald Trump that's litigating a war with Iran and all these other unpopular interventionist policies that he said he would never pursue.
That's also a great point. You know, how many times have we elected people like AOC, like Bernie, who said, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then when they get into office, what do? They just become same old Democrats, moderate Democrats. Well, AOC was supposed to be some grand progressive, and she was like holding, sit-ins in Nancy Pelosi's office. And then either they got to her or they threatened her or it must be something. I mean, that's clear that it's some kind of threat. They're under some kind of coercion. So, I mean, Am I the only one who thinks that? Do you guys think that our Congress is being coerced or under some kind of coercion or threat? And what kind of threat? And from who? Huh? I honestly, I mean, if I don't think these people honestly get into office or seek political office only for clout. There must be some, civil responsibility or whatever. How could you be willing to give up your career or like the thing that you're most passionate about? What would it take for you to be willing to like sell out? Right? It can't be. Well, my problem with that though is okay, but is he going to enforce in the next election? Who is he going to tell you to vote for? Who's he going to endorse? Whoever the Democrats tell him to. So Bernie Sanders he's a fraud, man.
But at the end of the day, if we're just talking strategic,
and this is his this is his former press secretary, basically acknowledging it. Like, I mean, that's what she's been saying in a nice way, I guess. But too nice. She's too nice.
What was appealing to people was his outsider status and his willingness to tell the truth about the duopoly. But even though that was the case, Democrats only framed interest in him in racial terms.
Yes.
Ignoring that, as racist as people can be, the racism didn't stop the Obama to Trump voter for voting for Obama. So racism wasn't the but-for factor. And refusing to acknowledge that and engage with that has made Democratic attempts at being a resistance party impotent for the last 10 years.
Dad, what do you actually do at work? Project management.
Why do we keep getting these things? Like they're trying to say that I'm getting old or something?
You know that a lot of Bernie voters, after he was cheated and did nothing with his movement, he did nothing. Just like Barack Obama, after he got elected, he disbanded his movement. So did Bernie Sanders pretty much. He did nothing. He asked them to do nothing. He made no demand for his endorsement of the Democratic Party. He did nothing. He hung those people out to dry and they had nowhere to go. And so a lot of those Bernie voters went and voted for Trump. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah. There was a Obama to Trump and Bernie to Trump and Trump to Bernie. I mean, this is what we're saying when we're talking about the allure that a kind of outsider populism holds. It is the same reason why I've been flamed for this in the last week. I don't know if you've noticed, Jimmy, but it's true. I know more than one. I'll put it that way. I know more than one Bernie voter, people who've been very deeply involved in the Bernie movement. This is not me, but people I've spoken to who have said that they would happily vote for Tucker Carlson over a sort of centrist Democratic candidate for exactly that reason, because they're pissed off at Democrats who began this genocide, who have funded this genocide.
Imagine, Nancy, Coasty, a Tucker Carlson. I mean, Nancy, they screwed him twice, and then the third time they didn't even have a primary. So did he really extract any concessions? Oh.
Side who have not really in any meaningful way resisted or distanced themselves from it, that were willing to lose an election in order to continue to bear hug Israel. And whatever you think of the logic of that, that's obviously a real risk that the Democrats face. And I think it's very telling that they would rather beat up on me for trying to warn them as to what's coming down the pike than actually do something about it and stand by their morals and values and actually distance themselves from Israel in a meaningful way.
Well, isn't that the problem with our two-party system, that it...
No. She's not trying to justify it, Nancy. She's explaining what happened. like what happened is all the people who voted for Obama, right? Okay, let's just be clear. All the people who were independent or in the middle or whatever, right? They voted for Obama. Okay, so that proves that this idea that racism, that the Republicans or the people on the right are all racist, that idea is bullshit. Okay, and she's saying that Trump came along, ran on economic populism, whatever you want to call it, all right, and he got all of those voters. Okay, he got all of those independent voters, and then the Democrats, instead of acknowledging that the reason why he won, those voters is not because he ran on economic policies or whatever, it's because of racism. Okay, so that's what she's saying. And then right now what she's saying is she's trying to warn the Democrats and say that anyone who runs right or left but is willing to say, no more money to Israel, like Tucker Carlson has a real chance of winning. So that's what's going on. And so these, like, you're trying to judge. No. She's telling you what's coming, what's happening. And you guys are going to start making excuses and say, racism, blah, blah, blah. Nope. That's not what's going on. That's not what's going on. That's what I think she's trying to say. I don't know. Am I wrong?
It brainwashes people at the
down the pike, then actually do something about it and a real risk that the Democrats face. And I think it's very telling that they would rather beat up on me for trying to warn them as to what's coming down the pike than actually do something about it and stand by their morals and values and actually distance themselves from Israel in a meaningful way.
Well, isn't that the problem with our two-party system, that it brainwashes people into thinking that there's actually two parties. There's a uniparty. There's one party. And when the Democrats get in power, they do the exact thing that the Republicans would do. They crush unions. They fund wars. They keep us away from health care.
Would you agree with that, Nancy, that when the Democrats get into office, instead of giving people what they want, they just can give people more of the same? Would you concede that, Nancy, that Biden, Trump, no, I mean, not Trump, Biden, Obama, Clinton, like, instead of making these wonderful socialist, reforms or whatever, progressive, whatever you want to call them, reforms, that all they did was make corporations richer and endless wars? Would you concede that, Nancy, or no? Or just they're victim of circumstances, like the Democrats, they're the good guys still. No, Nancy.
And we're left fighting around the edges on stuff like, bathrooms and trans women in sports.
Very intentionally.
Why do you continue to believe this, Nancy? Have we not covered enough? Have you not seen enough, Nancy, to know that this is brainwashing? The Republicans are evil to the bone, but the Republicans are people just like us, Nancy. Obamacare worked out well for you. Why is that? And then, okay, fine, Nancy. Let's say here in California, but okay, in Texas, the people in Texas have health care. What do they do when they get sick, Nancy? You think the Democrats are going to care about Texans? We need a real public option. So all the Republicans, all of them are bad. They're just evil people. The Republicans are just evil. So we live in a world where half of the people in our country are just evil people. Come on, Nancy. Come on.
Very intentionally, both parties are happy if we're fighting a culture war, because then neither has to be responsible for shifting the economics in a country in a way that redistributes wealth from the top to the bottom. They can make us all forget about taxing the rich and preventing them from doing insider trading and Medicare for all and raising the minimum wage that hasn't been raised since 2009. If we're talking about some of these cultural issues that wouldn't even rank in the public consciousness if they didn't stick them in our public consciousness.
Hello, my name is Adam.
It drives me as crazy as it does you. And, you know, you've taken a beat.
We're only 20 minutes. We're only 20 minutes into this. And I'm already an hour. And I've already spoken for like an hour. This is why I can't do Robert Reacts. I react too much. I can't just let the video play. I hate it when people do that too. When like they just won't let the video play, but I mean, I guess you have to like, because then they copyright you. All right, well, watch the video. No. That's not what happened, Nancy. That's not what happened. No. See, Nancy, we've covered this. How many times have we covered this? Obama didn't want the public option. He promised that he wouldn't sign anything without a public. As a matter of fact, Nancy, he promised that he wouldn't sign a bill that didn't have a public option. Okay, so liar. Okay, Nancy, and then why didn't Congress pass it? Because there was some Democrat, you know, who kept holding it up. There was some, you know, figure like what's the guy's name, you know, like the Joe Manchin or the Kristen Sinema. There's always a Democrat who's willing to buck the whole party and hold up the votes, you know, conveniently. All right, and then what ended up happening, Nancy? The Republicans ended up writing the bill, and it was just a handout. All it was is you know, Medicare D or whatever. It was the prescription thing. It was a handout to big corporations. Okay, so Obamacare, in the end, did it get us closer to single payer healthcare, or did it get us further away from single payer healthcare? And that to me is how how you measure that success. So did Obamacare get us closer to single payer or further away? When does the talking stop and the action begin? That's a question for Mr. G. Anyways, all right. Have a great day. Stay out of trouble. Be productive. Behave. Life is short. Women are evil. Make it a great day. Don't start calling people names. You see, you guys are missing the point. This is exactly the point, that they just want people to argue about these issues instead of, you know, distributing, you know, the wealth from the top down. People, come on. Okay, I'll give you the pre-existing conditions, Nancy. I'll give you that. But Nancy, wasn't that also a Republican promise too? So don't act like it was only the Democrats who did that. All right, it was both of them. Right? Why? Because both people wanted that, and it was completely unfair. I mean, pre-existing conditions, that your whole life is a pre-existing condition. Anybody with a medical history has a pre-existing condition. Okay. But Nancy, we've covered this. How did we get there? You know why, Nancy? Because every night when Obama was running, was saying that he was going to give people health care, there was a story of someone getting kicked off of their health care because of a precondition. Every night on the news, there was a whole series, you know, segment on a family. You know, they were fucking Midwestern, they were farmers, they were like middle America, and you know, they got kicked off, and they did a whole fucking story. You know, like every night. Where is that coverage today? Where? Nowhere. Why? Because that we don't have any journalism, we don't have any news. You know, they're all they do is run interference for the wealthy and the rich. Who did I call names? I called you names? No, I didn't. I know you've covered it. I just don't agree with you. Okay, fair enough. You know, I can live with that. That I can live with, Nancy. You don't have to agree with me. All right, later, people.